So just going through, these are all legit things I've done. A lot of these are usually at this point, I'll do the work and then I'll compare what ChatGPT would have done. For things down here, make this join sargeable, for example. So this is a query. It's just the join, make it sargeable, and it goes ahead and does it, which is really cool. Things like you mentioned about using it for really easy stuff. So this customer, we were doing an index analysis. So I pulled the SP Blitz index, which amongst other things for each index pulls you the number of reads and the number of writes they do that have been performed against the index. But it's all in one column, and I wanted to do a comparison. So I literally just asked it to give me this in a table and just pasted in the output from Blitz index, and it puts it into a table, which you just download and use. It is worth noting that there's an extra row of data in the ChatGPT output versus mine. So you can't just blindly say this is correct. You have to compare it, but it's great for, I could have written an Excel function to go to do char indexes and string splits and length and lefts and rights and stuff to split all this out. But I chucked it in ChatGPT and it just does it for you. But something I had for a customer here, customer migrated. They've got a new on a development server. They took a backup of production. We anonymized it and restored it to stage, but they have a lot of security that needed applying from the old stage version to the new stage version of the database. So I said, and they have object level permissions. So I asked for the script. Notice I didn't ask for SQL Server, so it gave me the SQL Server script to generate the T-SQL. Not do it for you, but generate the T-SQL. It gave me Postgres. It gave me MySQL. It gave me Oracle. However, I ran the SQL script and it had a collation issue, which is really weird because that's there's no database of different collation, so it's column level collation. So I just said I get the collation error, and it goes, okay, so this is your error. This is how you fix it. Here's your new script with collation in it that works, and it just worked. Obviously, you need to know what you're doing to understand that if what it's doing is correct, but it's really good. I had a fun one. Where is it? So I asked it for the command to copy all logons from an old database to a new one, and it gave me the PowerShell, the DBA tools. I then asked for it to give me the command to copy all the users within a database and the roles within the database. It said, use copy DBA DB user. That doesn't exist. That's not a DBA tools command. If you go to the DBA tools and ask for, you go to the commands and you do a search for it, it's not there. Whether it used to be, I don't know, but it's not now.
And that's a great example of what they call hallucination, right? With AIs, right? They will make things up, right? Like it knows that that it has the copy DBA logins. It knows what logins and users are, and it's like, oh, there must be a copy DBA users, right? And there's not.
Exactly.
So sometimes it will be wrong. Sometimes it'll be completely wrong. So this is again why I always come back to this is a force multiplier, right? In terms of generating that for you, you're still going to have to, validate that it's correct.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think on here, I put that command's not recognized from the PowerShell. And it thought for a long time. It doesn't actually say how long it thought for. It thought for a long time. And it said import DBA tools. Like, no, that's not a fix. So it then went and gave me a whole lot of, it thought for almost 3 minutes here and gave me a load of PowerShell to kind of do it another way. And even that wasn't right. It's not a big deal. I just scripted it out manually from the databases. But if you didn't know what you were doing and you didn't have the confidence, if you're more junior perhaps, to know that the computer's wrong, then it could be dangerous. But as long as you're sensible and use it for things that is just saving you time, that's what I use it for. This one's a good one as well. So we have a customer who uses partitioning. We have a monthly maintenance job that creates the next month's partition and deletes the oldest partition. So they're not being truncated. They weren't being truncated and removed, which is causing disk space issues. When checked, there was no rows of data, but there was some kilobytes of data. Long story short, I used ChatGPT for rubber duck debugging. I was like, just tell me how you would do this, and I'm going to compare it against what I did and make sure I've not missed anything. And I hadn't. But by doing this process, it made me think about it slightly differently, like you would a rubber duck. And yeah, the issue's resolved now. I worked out what it was just from reading through the ChatGPT output. So in that, it may be specific to us because of what we do, and because of what I do in a different time zone to most people's. I don't have people who I can just hop on a call with necessarily and say, oh, what do you think about this? Because it's 2:00 in the morning for them. So chucking it at ChatGPT and going, what do you think? And it just reframes. It's, yeah. I'm trying to use it for most things. Even if I don't use the output, seeing what it does is very interesting. This one was a good one. I had a bunch of SQL commands that were producing the same results. I just said, look, I've got these. It's just producing their results. I'd missed the go in the middle. So rather than sit there for hours and try and work out why my code wasn't working, I just chucked it at ChatGPT and went, yeah, you're missing your batch separators. Done. Perfect. What's this one? This is a great example. I wanted to script, I wanted all columns and all tables and all databases, right? And I can write that. That's not a problem. It's just joining schemas, tables, and this. But why bother? Why spend 5-10 minutes typing all this out or going to try and find a script where I've written this before? Just ask ChatGPT. It takes 19 seconds and it gives you the output. You can then, I want every schema on the database and it outputs that, and every constraint on a database and it just outputs that. So anybody who does this for a long time, you get your little toolkit of scripts that you use everywhere, and oh, I've got something that does that. But if you're anything like me, going to try and find where that bloody thing's saved is a nightmare. So I just chuck it in here now. And this isn't complicated stuff. This is like Randy said, this isn't stuff we don't know how to do already. I could write this query, but why? The computer will do it for you. And by the nature of what we do, it's billable time, and that costs customers less because it takes me less time to write this than it would. Why bill 15 minutes of me writing this code when I could do a couple of minutes of getting the computer to write it and then verify it and make sure it's good? So yeah, it's there's a couple of times here I had a game of D&D, but this is a great one. If you're anything like me, you hate pivots. I just literally gave a ChatGPT a query that said pivot it, and it wrote me a pivot for it.
There's a lot of stuff like that, right? Kind of like the set SPN thing, right? Or things that, again, I know how to do it, but,
yeah,
like, well, why? When you can just say, hey, here's this. I've even done things like, one of the things that I've discovered in ChatGPT, Rich has had some examples here of, pasting error messages. You can actually paste screenshots. So it could be even something where, you get like a modal dialogue or something with some error. This would be more of an infrastructure thing. Just grab a screenshot of it and paste it, and it will actually parse that, and it'll be just as if you had pasted the text.